Good morning. Good morning. Nice to see some smiling faces. Feel free to just choose whether you'd like to start sitting or reclining this morning. So totally up to you. Perhaps check in with how you're feeling, whether you would like to just stay seated or come to lie down, and making sure that you are warm, that you have any support you need to be comfortable, to be supported. Sighing the breath away. You're lying down and you've got glasses on, you might like to just pop those to one side. And you might like to say to yourselves a few times as we begin, I recognize the need for silence and stillness in my life. I recognize the need for silence and stillness in my life. There is great power in the art of stopping. So let's just sit or lie quietly for the next minute or so in silence. Just be with your breath, with yourself. Thank yourself for making the time to stop, to pause from your day-to-day life, to dive deep within and be with yourself, honoring the precious relationship you have with yourself. So just begin to notice now what's going on inside of you at this moment in time. How are you feeling in body, mind, spirit? And perhaps asking yourself now, can I be with this? Can I be with whatever is going on inside? Can I be with this? If it helps, you might like to rest a hand over your heart space and connect with your breath. Chest filling, chest emptying, breath arising, breath passing away. One breath at a time, staying anchored to this present moment, to this breath, and this breath, and this breath. And seeing if you can begin to notice a slight pause at the top of the inhale and at the end of the exhale. Might just be a second or two, perhaps even a microsecond. Breath filling the lungs, and then a little pause, and then exhaling, emptying the lungs and pausing empty. Just watching the breath, listening to the breath, staying with your breath. Each inhale, and then a little gap, little pause. Each exhale, and pausing empty. So let us remember that yoga is not really a workout, it's a work in. Not just physical stretches to make us stronger and more flexible. Yoga can actually be defined as the practice of moving into stillness, of moving into a state of pure awareness, dwelling in emptiness, a silent space between breaths, between thoughts, and inner stillness that connects us to our true power and enables us to experience the truth of who we are. So in this sense, the emptiness is where the magic is. So today we're going to work with different practices to explore the experience of emptiness, pausing between breaths, having a little space, a little gap between breaths, and seeing if we can relax into this space. So if you're in a seated position, I'll invite you over the next few breaths to slowly make your way down to the floor, to lie down fully outstretched. And I'm going to come back to meet you on my mat. You can keep blankets over you. You're feeling a little bit cool this morning, but just free your arms out to the side. And just stretching the legs out along the mat if they're not already in that position. Checking that you're lying in a nice straight line. Chin tucking forward. So we're going to really explore the breath in all of the poses this morning. And as I mentioned, see if we can allow a little space to be there at the top of the inhale and at the end of the exhale. So we're going to start off with a very simple movement just to work with this practice. So let's exhale all breath to begin. And then as we inhale, just going to extend that left arm up overhead. So we pause at the top of the inhale. And then when we need to, we just exhale and let that left arm rest there and pause empty. Now we're going to do the same with the right arm. Inhale, extending the right arm up overhead. So pausing at the top of the inhale. And then when you need to exhale, let that arm rest there and pause empty. On the next inhale, we're stretching fingertips and toe tips in opposite directions, pausing, and then exhaling, lowering both arms down and pausing empty. So as I mentioned, it might just be a microsecond. Please don't stress if it doesn't feel natural to have those pauses there. But those of you who are more experienced with lengthening these pauses, you can really start to do that with this practice. So let's do that again. Inhale, left arm lifts overhead, pausing at the top. So for some of you, that might be up to 8-10 seconds. And then exhale, just let that left arm rest there and pause empty. So as I mentioned, some of you might be able to extend that pause for 8-10 seconds, even longer. It's not a competition. Let's lift the right arm up overhead, inhaling, pausing full. And when you need to exhale, just let that right arm rest there and pause empty. Breathing in, stretching fingertips and toe tips in opposite directions, pausing at the top. And when you need to exhale, lowering the arms down and pausing empty. So please work with your own breath and what feels right for you at this point of the practice. Inhale, left arm lifts. We'll do 3 more of these. Pausing at the top, lungs full. And then exhale, just let that left arm rest there. Pause, empty. Right arm lifts, inhale. Pausing at the top. And exhale, just let that right arm relax and pause, empty. Breathing in, stretching long and tall through the body, pausing full. And when you need to, lowering both arms down. Keep the face soft, make sure you're not clenching the teeth. So do 2 more of these in your own time with your own breath. There's no hurry. Slow it down as much as feels comfortable for you this morning. So left arm lifts, pausing full. We exhale in our own time and pause empty. And then right arm lifts. And we pause at the top. And exhale. Just let that right arm rest there and pause empty. Breathing in, holding as you pause. And when you need to, you lower the arms down and pause empty. So last one without my voice. When you finish, take a resting breath. And then we're going to step both feet up close to the buttocks and take our hands up to the back of the head where the hair begins to grow. We're going to give the back of the head, the neck, a little bit of a massage. So just the base of the skull, starting off in the center of the head. And you're working your way out towards the ears. So we're looking for any particularly tight, sore spots. See if you can press the lower back down into the mat in this position. So lengthening your spine, chin tucking forward, allowing the breath to flow. So if you find a particularly sore spot, you might spend a little bit of extra time there. Amazing how much tension a lot of us can store in this area. Cause a lot of headaches. The nadis can get quite blocked, quite congested, so the energy can't flow. So this is a lovely little practice just to loosen up this area. Let's gently release, draw both knees into the chest, cross the legs at the ankles, a hand on each knee, and let's make some little little circles on the floor with our lower backs. Good. And then come back to center, cross the legs the other way and circling in the opposite direction. And then we're going to carefully roll over to one side and just come up into a seated position. So any comfortable seated position. And grab any support you might need. And we're going to just wake up the lungs a little bit, open them up a little bit with some tapping and percussion. We've done this, I think probably all of you will have done this with me before. This is from the yoga teacher, Donna Farhi. It's a really good way to just loosen up any congestion in the lungs and so we can breathe more deeply. So you might find after we've done this, you can actually take deeper breaths and have those pauses a little bit longer than before. If you have got a bit of, if you've had a bit of a cough or a cold or any sort of viruses, you might just do this with fingertips because it might start you off coughing. So just go very gently, or if it's just too much, you might rest a hand on the heart, hand on the belly. Just do some nice slow breathing. So otherwise we're going to make fists with the hands. We're going to tap 3 different areas, beginning with the upper chest. Just in your own time, all around the upper chest, out towards the armpits. And whenever you get the urge, you can make a loud sound. Nice deep, deep breaths. I've got a cough as I do this. Good. And now we'll move to the second area, which is the side rib cage area. And blowing the breath out through the mouth as you work with this tapping. Good. And then the third area is the lower back area, not touching your spine, but either side of the spine around your kidneys. Try to keep the chest lifted as you do this. Chin parallel to the floor. Good. And then gentle release, just give the hands a little bit of a shake. So we follow that with what Donna Farhi calls 3 breath stretches, where we're going to be breathing into different parts of the lungs. The first area we're going to focus on is the upper chest area. So we're going to interlace the fingers behind us, squeeze the shoulders together, shoulder blades, see if you can bring the palms together. So from here, we're going to take 3 deep conscious breaths into that upper chest area. When you finish the 3 breaths, just release the hands. And perhaps rest on your knees. And then we'll do that once more. So this time when you interlace the fingers, see if you can bring the opposite index finger in front. Can you bring the palms together, squeeze the shoulder blades together? So again, 3 deep conscious breaths. Finish, just release the hands. So second area we're going to concentrate on is the back of the lungs in the upper back area. And for this one, we're going to hold on to the opposite wrist, doesn't matter which one. As we breathe in, we're going to round the back, so you can look down. And as you exhale, just come back to a neutral spine, straighten the spine. So breathing in, we round the back. And breathing out, back to a neutral spine. Again. When you finish 3, we change the grip, change the holding the wrist, and 3 more. Release the hand. So the third area, excuse me, is the side rib cage area. So breathing into the side of the lungs. Let's take the right hand onto the right side, and then we'll just take this left hand down, lean over a little bit to this left side, and then we're consciously directing the breath into this right side. 3 breaths. So imagine there's like a balloon in that right side of the lung. You're trying to fill the balloon as you inhale. And deflate the balloon as you exhale. Finish the 3, no hurry. We'll quietly work to the other side. So leaning over to the right side. 3 conscious breaths now into this left side of the lungs. Just imagining there's a balloon filling as you inhale. And deflating as you exhale. Come to an upright position, and we're going to stretch forward. So if you're sitting cross-legged, you might come forward this way. If you're kneeling, you might come forward into extended child. You might like to come into a diamond shape, soles of the feet together, and just gently folding forward. You might like to close the eyes. And in this position, we can just allow our focus to be a little bit more on the pause at the end of the exhale. Breathe in, little pause. Breathe out. And see if you can just stay in that space, that gap. After the exhale, see if you can allow that to lengthen a little bit. But not if it causes you any agitation. We don't want to be gasping for our next breath. being in that empty space. Gently. All right, well, let's come onto all fours now. Any knee issues, you might pop a blanket under your knees. So hands are directly under your shoulders. Your knees are directly under your hips. Your spine is in a neutral position. So as we work with cat this morning, any wrist issues, you can make fists with the hands, or just try turning the fingers out to the side, play around with that. Making our focus as we work with cat, the space at the top of the inhale, and the end of the exhale, seeing if we can dwelling in that space. So it's like this whole session this morning is like a meditation on this space, on this emptiness, trying to just be there, seeing how that feels, what that's like being in that space. So let's exhale all breaths to begin. And then breathing in, so we tilt the tailbone, drop the belly, gaze up, keep the face soft. So we're pausing full. When you need to, exhale, rounding the back, and pause empty. Breathing in. So work at your own pace. It is not a competition. Don't worry about how long I'm holding these pauses for. Listen to your own body. Work with your breath. Keep going. We'll work with this for another couple of minutes. Seeing if you can slow the practice right down. It's no race. There's no destination we need to get to. Just being in the moment with the process, with the practice. One breath at a time, aware of the four components of the breath. Inhale, the exhale, and these two spaces, two gaps. Let's just do 2 more rounds. Keep your attention on the breath and the spaces between the breath. Finish that last one. Come back to center. Let's just release and sit back and just again hold one wrist or one forearm, and just make a little bird speak. Circle working into the wrist. Slow circles. Effortless. Other side. Okay, let's work with our tiger balance. Those of you who are struggling with wrist, you might even come down and just do it with your fingers interlaced, so resting on the forearms. Otherwise, we're on all fours again, but the knees are together. So again, we're really trying to slow this down with those pauses between breaths. So let's exhale. And then breathing in, we extend the left arm and the right leg back. When you need to exhale, you lower the left arm and the knee and pause empty. Right arm, left leg. And lower. Like a moving meditation. At your own pace now, left arm, right leg. Oh, don't worry if you need to take catch-up breaths, that's okay. Just work with your own breath. Allowing the inhale and exhale to be smooth and calm. So we're not trying so hard that it starts to become a bit jerky or a bit rough or a bit forced. You can either rest in child pose now, or let's lift once more, and this time we'll hold the balance. So we're pointing the right toes, endeavouring to keep the hips square, trying not to do too much of a back bend, so we're drawing the belly button in towards the spine, stretching the left fingers forward, and we need to keep breathing here. Good, and then quietly lower the palm of the knee, and let's try the other side. Holding, breathing. And gently release. And just coming down into your favourite version of child pose for a moment and rest for a couple of breaths. Let's come up onto all fours again, and we're going to work with Parigasana, our gate pose, a lateral stretch. So we're on all fours, knees are together, exhale all breath. So as we breathe in, we're going to turn to the left, extend that left leg long, and reach the left arm up. You can look forward or up if that's okay for your neck. So we pause full, and then when we need to exhale, we quietly lower that left arm down, come back to all fours and pause empty. And then we turn to the right, inhale. So pausing full. And exhale. Pause empty. Let's keep going. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Just notice as you're working this morning, any feelings of frustration, any judgment, any self-criticism if you are struggling with the breath a bit this morning. Some of you, I know at least one of you had COVID last week. It's amazing how long it can take for our lungs to recover. So let's remember that famous quote, observation without judgment is the highest form of spiritual practice. This time we're going to hold as we turn to the left, so left leg long, left arm up. If you'd like to take it further, you can lift that left leg up, flexing the foot, try to bring the leg parallel to the floor, and you might turn that left arm and extend the arm over your head. And breathe. So we may not always choose the more challenging option if our focus is the breath and slowing the breath down and lengthening the pauses. Might be better sometimes for us to just stay in the gentler options. It's all about intention, as we know. Okay, let's gently come back to all fours and turning to the right. Inhale. So again, option to lift the right leg, flex the foot, and perhaps turn the right arm and extend the arm over your head. And breathe. And coming back to all fours, release back into extended child, stretching your fingers forward, and then inhale, come up onto your knees, tuck your toes, and we'll move into down face dog pose. You might like to just start by bending one leg and then the other. Spread the fingers wide, pressing the knuckles of the fingers down. Remembering that we bring the poses to life with our breath. There's no yoga without the breath. Okay, now from here, we're going to carefully walk our feet in towards our hands and just hang. So legs can be bent at this point. The legs are probably feeling a bit still quite tight and stiff, especially with this colder weather. So don't be in a hurry to straighten the legs. Just letting the arms hang down. You might like to sway the arms, the shoulders from side to side. If you're quite congested this morning, don't stay in this position too long. You don't want to have the head lower than the heart for too long. And then let's slowly Come all the way up. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears and roll the shoulders down the back. Good. All right, let's stand into Tadasana, mountain pose. Spread your toes. Your arms are just down alongside the legs. I like to close the eyes for a moment, tuck the chin in a little bit so the back of the neck is long. Perhaps turning the sides of the mouth up slightly. And just find your breath once again. Let's continue to explore the breath now, and in particular the spaces between breaths. Exhale, excuse me, and then breathing in. Let's raise the arms all the way up. Pause at the top as your fingertips touch. When you need to exhale, lower the arms. And pause empty. So let's keep going in your own time, perhaps with the eyes closed. Stay with your breath. Keep coming back to the breath when the mind wanders. Excuse me. Notice this morning if it's easier for you to extend the pause after the inhale or the exhale. All of us are different with this. You might have already noticed that one of them is easier for you to work with, that you can lengthen one more naturally. Or that one of those pauses feels like a more enjoyable space to be in than the other. So just noticing what you notice with this practice without judgment. Finish the one you're on and we'll work with one more. You finish, just take a breath and I like to sigh it away. All right. Let's make sure we're not near any walls or any furniture and start to swing the arms now around the waist. The arms be nice and loose and relaxed. If you ever do this and you feel a little bit dizzy, just keep the head centered, looking forward rather than turning to look over the shoulder. And then taking the arms up to shoulder height. And all the way up overhead, looking up. And back to shoulder height. And back around the waist, letting everything slow down. release. We'll do some bouncing. So just spreading your toes, feet hip width, little bend in the legs, and then just starting to bounce and shake, perhaps sway from side to side. You might blow the breath out through the mouth. So perhaps just recalling any judgments you've noticed so far in the practice, any critical thoughts, or desire to compare with others in terms of the breathing, and perhaps imagining those judgments are flowing down through the body into the earth, just letting them go. They're so not helpful on our journey. Good. And then just slowing that down. And inhale, raise the arms up, pausing at the top. And exhale. All right, let's do a little bit more tapping just to stimulate the whole body. So we're going to come down to the top of the right foot and just start to tap all over the top of the right foot, right ankle, up and in, knee, all around the knee, thigh, and back, and ribcage area, chest, shoulder, upper back, armpit, and all the way down this right arm. And your wrist, hand, fingers. And then we'll go lightly on the neck, the jaw, cheek, just softly, ear, temple, forehead, top of the head, side of the head, back of the head, and then switching sides, top of the head, back, side, forehead, temple, ear, cheek, jaw, neck, upper back, armpit, down this left arm, right down to the wrist and the hand, and then to the chest, ribcage area, yep. Down the thigh, to the knee, and calf and shin, ankle, and the top of the foot. Good. And coming up. Take a couple of nice deep breaths, sigh the breath away. Notice what's going on inside. All right, let's work with our flowing bird now. So again, our focus is the pauses between the breaths. So feet are hip width apart, spread your toes, exhale all breath, and then breathing in. So we pause at the top and breathing out. Pause, empty. When you need to, inhale, pause at the top, And exhale. Pause in your own time. Now this time, when we come down into the forward fold and pause empty, drop your hands, make your way into down face dog pose. Inhale down into cat, pausing at the top. And exhale, extended child. Inhale, cat. Tuck the toes, down face dog pose, pause empty. Walk your feet towards your hands, come back into bird, arms up behind. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale. Let's do one more of those. Breathing in. Breathing out. Drop your hands down, make your way into dog pose. Inhale, cat. Exhale, child. Pause empty. Inhale, cat. Dog. Forward, arms up behind. Inhale, come up. And exhale. Take a resting breath. And release. All right, a couple more standing poses. We're going to do some squatting. So legs are wide, toes turned out. Exhale, all breath. Breathing in. So we're bending the legs, taking the arms above the head. So we pause. And then exhale, hands come to the heart and we pause empty. Inhale, raising the arms up. And exhale. So again, at your own pace. Let's just work with one more. Nice. Let's give the legs a bit of a shake. And legs wide once again. Turn your right toes around, left toes in. We're going to work with Trikonasana, our beautiful triangle. So let's breathe in, raise the arms to shoulder height, turn to the right, and exhale, lean over, then down. Now, if you'd like to join with me this morning, we'll circle this top arm around 3 times. So we inhale, taking it down, and exhale around, nice and slowly. A bit more opening for our shoulder. When you've done the 3 circles, you can take that right arm up, or you might rest it on your left arm up. You might rest it on your left hip. That's better for your shoulder. And you can be looking down towards your right big toe, looking forward, or perhaps up towards that left thumb. And breathe. Seeing if you can dwell in the space at the top of the inhale and at the end of the exhale. Good. Bring the head to neutral. Let's inhale, carefully come up and release the arms. Turn your legs around. Let's breathe in, raise the arms, turn to the left, and over and coming down. So again, if you'd like to, slowly circling this right arm now. Done 3 circles, you might take that right arm up or rest it on your right hip. Let's work out where your neck is best supported, which direction the head is facing, the gaze of the eyes, and stay there and breathe. Stay soft. Bring that to neutral. Inhale. Release the legs. We're going to come to lie down either in a semi-supine position or with the legs stretched out, whatever feels best for your lower back at this point. Sighing the breath away, letting the body sink down into the support of the earth. We're going to work with 3 simple arm movements. Again, the focus is our breath and the space between breaths. So let's exhale, full breath. And then breathing in as you sweep both arms overhead. Pause, excuse me, at the top. And when you need to, gently lowering the arms back down and pausing empty. So 2 more. Inhale. Exhale when you need to. And last one without my voice. When you finish, take a breath. And if your legs are stretched out, just step them up close to the buttocks now in preparation for bridge. So still focusing on the breath. Press the palms into the mat as you inhale and lift the back up. Pausing at the top. Exhale as you lower the back down and pause empty. Breathing in as you lift. And when you need to, breathing out. Some of you might notice that you can extend those pauses a lot more now compared to the first practices we did. And lying down at the start of the session. May not, and that's okay too. Just noticing what you notice. Finish the one you're on and work with two more. And when you come down, you can either choose to bring the knees in and rock from side to side, or if you like, work with happy baby. So I'm going to work now with a little meditation and then go into Shavasana. The meditation might probably be for about 7 or 8 minutes. So just choose whether you'd like to recline for the meditation and then just go straight into relaxation, or if you would like now to come up to sit. You are going to stay lying down, just make sure that you are really cozy and warm. It's quite cool this morning. I'm going to put my heater on. If you're in a seated position, trying to find a place where the spine can be nice and upright with minimum physical effort. But we always want to have some effort with our meditation practice, because that's what can help us stay awake and alert. That's where it's, sometimes if we lie down, it's easy to drift off and fall asleep. I know that's possible when you're sitting as well. So if you're in a seated position, you might like to incorporate a favourite mudra, a hand gesture. Lying down, your arms can just be alongside the body, sighing the breath away. I invite you to visualize yourself now sitting beside a gently flowing stream with leaves floating along the surface of the river. So this may be a stream or river that you know, one that you love, or it might be a river in your imagination. So just take a little time, use all of your senses to explore this place. Notice colours, perhaps listening to sounds. aware of movement as well as stillness. And for the next 4 or so minutes, whenever a thought pops into your mind, I invite you to place, excuse me, place that thought on a leaf and let it float by. So do this with each thought, whether the thought is pleasurable, beautiful thought, almost like a fantasy, whether it's a painful thought or just a neutral thought. If you find that you don't have many thoughts or they momentarily stop, just continue watching the stream, the river, the water gently floating by. Allow the stream to flow at its own pace. Don't try to speed it up or rush the leaves, your thoughts along. You're not trying to get rid of your thoughts. You're allowing them to come and go at their own pace. If a leaf gets stuck, allow it to hang around until it's ready to float by. And if the same thought keeps coming up again and again, watch it float by a second or third or fourth time. Keep placing the thoughts on the leaves. And let the water hold them, carry. Any difficult or painful feelings or thoughts, placing those thoughts on the leaves and allowing them to float on by. If your mind is being quite critical, you're feeling as though you're not doing this right or you're too distracted, place those thoughts on leaves too and let them pass. Time to time, your thoughts may hook you and distract you from being fully present. This is very normal. As soon as you realize that you're getting sidetracked, just gently bring your awareness back to the practice. Gently release this practice. You might sigh the breath away. And if you're in a seated position, you might want to come to lie down. Just a short shavasana, excuse me. Perhaps saying to yourselves a few times, I recognize the need for silence and stillness in my life. I recognize the need for silence and stillness in my life. Just allowing yourself now to dwell in stillness, in space, in emptiness. And experience the emptiness without rushing to fill that space with noise or events or breath or people. So often in life we spend our time desperately trying to avoid the feeling of emptiness. It's so much of our yoga practice is about learning to be with space, with silence, with ourselves. Feel free to stay lying down if you're happy here and you have the time to do so. Otherwise, slowly now start to deepen the breath. Bring a little bit of movement into your fingers and toes. Stretch. And then just rolling over to one side and curling up into a little ball. Hug your knees in. I'd like to share just a final passage with you from Eckhart Tolle. Every time you create a gap in the stream of mind, the light of your consciousness grows stronger. One day you may catch yourself smiling at the voice in your head. This means that you no longer take the content of your mind all that seriously, as your sense of self does not depend on it. So if you'd like to come now to sit up, and we'll close with one Om, otherwise just stay lying down, nice and cozy and warm. To bring the hands together at the heart space. Exhale all breath. Breathing in. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Keep warm, keep well, and lots of love to you all. So I won't be here next Tuesday, but definitely the one after, all being well. Yeah, lots of love. Take care. Bye.